Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the KONTAINEROZ podcast. The podcast is sponsored by PortPro, the leading operating system for drayage carriers. Schedule a demo today at portpro.io or just check them out at portpro.io. Episode number 36, we got Mynor Ambrocio. He does business development at HallPay, a factoring company. We're going to learn a few things about that. So, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me over. It's much, anticipated. I'm excited, a little nervous,
Me too, bro.
The good thing is that we have an outside relationship also where we're friends and we've hung out. So it's not just like business,
And you did that live with me.
Yeah.
The factoring, when we went live at the office.
Mm-hmm.
RIP office, though. But, yeah.
Long time coming, man. We've grown up a lot. It's exciting to see your growth,
Thank you, man.
all the community that you're building.
So tell us about you, though. A little about yourself. Not too much, because I got a question, so don't spill all the beans.
Not at all. I mean, I've been in the industry going on 12 years now. I've been blessed with being a dispatcher, being an accounting team leader, sales manager, and here I am, working with a factoring company. So it's a little bit of a change, but I like it better than any of the positions I've had in the past. That's for sure.
How did you get into factoring?
I was a operations supervisor at Next Trucking. And, obviously we parted ways and this opportunity came up, applied. They had initially shrugged me off at first. I got that automated email, thank you, but we're not going to move forward. Day later, they ended up calling me and scheduled the interview. It was a couple interviews pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
So it was all already digital, and it's been there a little over 2 years now. And
pinche automation, a veces hasta para los emails la caga, huh?
Yeah.
That was automation right there.
Yep.
Almost had you out of a job, man. Shit.
Yeah, man. And it happens, since we are a digital company, a lot of the emails that our clients do receive are just from the system. It's not like an actual person typing it out, So
how does it make you feel to know that people don't really give a shit about like 90% of those emails? Like,
it's fine.
Yeah.
That's why I'm used to it. I don't really my approach is a little different than others.
Yeah.
Right? So what works for them doesn't work for me and vice versa, right? So I don't do those automations. Simply, I'm old school. Pick up the phone, send a text message, build that relationship. It's beyond just a transaction.
Yeah, I guess there's so much going out now that I'm speaking from my experience. I wouldn't respond to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's bad on my end, or maybe good. I don't know, because I heard that some of those offers are legit, whether it's business opportunities or
Mm-hmm. It's
but
spam.
I didn't know. I was like, man, leave me alone,
But here we are. Luckily.
Yeah. Here I am. I'm no longer having my own authority. Hey, open those emails, guys. Get to work.
Yeah.
So factoring, man, there's so much to learn in trucking, and factoring is like something that I didn't take serious till towards the end, that it was a thing, a tool to kind of catapult your operation, to where that that's what I think I learned, that you get that steady cash flow coming in, and everything has a cost, right?
Yeah.
But how about you just do it? Because this is your job. You know more than me. So what's factoring, man?
So even when I had my own carrier authority, right, I had 2 units running under me, and I still had a factoring company, right? Before, factoring was kind of the F word, right? It was frowned upon.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it could be either their own pride that doesn't allow them, or it could be various, topics. But factoring is simple. You pretty much don't have to worry about the day-to-day operations regarding your AR, your AP, because that's where we come into play, right?
The what?
Where we come into play.
No, those initials, those acronyms.
Accounts receivable. So you don't have to worry about chasing after your paycheck after you deliver the load,
Yeah.
right, or a container.
And AP, accounts payable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
AR and AP.
AR and AP. Add that to the list, guys.
And the reason why I said AP is because we do a lot of brokerage factoring as well. So we have that department structured already as well, where we take care of their carrier payments. We take care of their collections. So it's a whole, lot of opportunities that you gain when building a relationship with the factoring company. It's not just getting your money the day after, right? You get the financial support where if you land a project, right, you're going to have to come out of pocket. You have to, maneuver your money to succeed. With the factoring company, we just pretty much take care of everything for you guys. So,
are there certain projects, like what makes you say, we'll fuck with this project? Or like, how do we know what project we could bring to the table and be like, help us out so we could take on this?
We have a mobile app that you download on your Android or tablet or iPhone, right? And through that app, you could actually check credit on somebody before you pick up a load. That way it guarantees your paycheck, right? Versus taking that risk on your own where you don't know if they're going to pay you or not. You deliver the load, then you're spinning your wheels, chasing your tail, trying to get that money. And it's happened, especially with the pandemic that happened a couple of years back. None of our clients felt the stress financially because, they got their money. Yeah. They got paid regardless versus us where even with larger brokerages, it was hard to get our payments. Some of them extended up to like 90 days. We're talking millions. So,
So what if, do you not only just check we got to do our homework and check the credit of who we're messing with, right?
Through our app, yeah.
But so your app is kind of beneficial to you as well because it kind of filters out the bad, so you don't even have to, like a selective business model, right? Like I'm only gonna fuck with these guys.
No, you guys are free to work with whomever. Obviously, it's your own business, so we don't dictate or tell you, hey, no, you gotta stay away from them. Because there are some clients that prefer to just bill them directly. It's a huge risk that they're gonna take, but if that's the route that they want to go, we have nothing against it.
But do you have to check my credit too as my company?
No. Some factoring companies do.
Both?
Yeah. With us, we don't structure it that way. So
Why not?
Our approach is a little different because it's not based off of you as a person. It's based off of your business and about who you're going to be working with. Because at the end of the day, all we're going to be doing is making sure that you get paid, right?
Like trucking companies get bad scores too, right? Is that a thing? Yeah.
With brokerages mainly.
Okay.
Truckers, we don't check your credit. We just do like our simple due diligence background, history. And that's all we do. We don't do a personal credit check, so there's no hard inquiry on your report.
Yeah. Earlier you said the pride, and in business, I think that's something that a lot of people that are old school, they miss that part where a lot of times these people borrow from the beginning, and people like to, and it's honorable and everything to be like self-made and come up from nothing. But at one point or another, you're gonna have to get a loan, huh? It shouldn't be like embarrassing to say I had to borrow $100,000 to get this going,
right? Yeah, and it's just like it's an alternative. Obviously, it doesn't work for everybody. But it's an alternative avenue for you to not take such a high risk or take on any loans, right? So that way it's structured on a customer per customer basis.
What if the customer doesn't pay and meanwhile you've been paying me?
We absorb the hit. So with our program, it's what's called non-recourse, where the only requirement that we have is for you to check their credit, make sure that they're approved. As long as they're approved, whether it takes them 6 months to pay or if they close, they go bankrupt, we're not coming for you after that money.
What is that non-recourse? You choose that by default, or it varies by, that's just your business model?
That's us, yeah.
Non-recourse.
Yeah.
And there's other types?
Yeah, there's non-recourse with a clause, meaning,
so that's,
it could be 90 days, and if they don't get their money in 90 days, then you have to pay out.
Okay.
There's recourse, which is based off of your personal credit.
Yeah.
And they establish a line of credit for you that you have to maintain per month. And if you go under that threshold, you're going to be seeing penalties and fees, and your rate's going to increase.
That's the only 3 types that you know of?
Yeah, and every company is going to have their different clauses within their agreements, but we don't really worry about the other ones. What we do offer our clients or potential clients is you could send over an agreement, to us for review, just to look at the terminology and to see where you really stand. Because especially as of late, everybody's so fixated on the rate, right? Oh, well, they're offering me 2%. Okay, great. But what kind of program is it? And usually with those low rates.
What's that risk?
Yeah. Where you're going to be seeing transactional fees. And that 2% essentially comes out to be like 3.5%, 4%.
Oh, it just marketed different.
Yeah. But because they're like, oh, no, it's 2%. But in reality, it's really not.
So then you're no recourse. And what's the catch there? Because everyone seems to have a catch. So there's got to be a catch.
There is none. That's why I love working here.
Sounds simple.
The program that we have. Yeah,
this is what it is.
We don't. It's a low 3-month term contract. We don't lock you in for a year. Mm-hmm. We don't renew you or hold you hostage for 6 months, 12 months, whatever the case is. Try to be as simple as possible because you guys already have a lot on your plate. Diesel prices going up, all the operational stuff, safety, CHP inspections, all that other stuff. Mm-hmm. Why are we going to complicate it for you?
Yeah. Can you provide a simple definition of what factoring is? Just really short. Like, why would an owner-operator with own authority consider factoring?
You're selling your invoice, so the load that you delivered to us at a small fee, versus you having to do everything on your own, creating and generating an invoice, emailing it to the broker, following up on payment status, setting them up. So that's the main.
And is that so? You're basically, think of it like a bank, I guess. You have the money. I want to do business with this trucking company, but I can't afford to wait the amount of days that they offer payment in, right? Mm-hmm. And you're like, hey, bro, I got the money. Like, I'll front it to you so you could keep going and paying your drivers, because drivers want to get paid the next week, or even same day sometimes. So that's all it is. Yeah. And then when you level up and you have your own money, you don't got to miss out on that 2% or whatever you want to call it. This is just
I'll be frank with you. A lot of major conglomerate brokerages, Schneider, right? We all know Schneider. We know CRE England. Mm-hmm. They're factoring. They gave up their accounting team, handed it over to a factoring company for a smaller fee versus having, a 20-team accounting department. Because that's a larger investment that you're spending on,
Okay.
So a lot of brokerages are switching over to factoring, so it's making it a little easier for carriers to even understand it as well. So it's not a bad thing anymore.
That's a good move, man.
Believe
Why
me.
pay employees when I'll take a cut, I'll take a loss of the fee,
and somebody else takes care of it. Yep.
Hey, that's why these big businesses stay in business forever. They got their little trucos,
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
and that's why we built out our brokerage department as well, just to help out. Like, shout out Hermanos Service Express. Yeah. They're with us.
Yeah, they jumped on, huh?
Yeah, I mean, because we simplified everything for them. All they have.
Hey, what they mentioned, though.
Containeroz, make sure you say Containeroz to get that larger discount.
I'm getting the hang of this YouTube. Hey, in the description below, you could sign up with him, eh? This is not a sales podcast, by the way.
Yeah, so. It's not. It's literally just educating our people, building the network, continuing to build a community, tighter community, and it's a FAQ.
Yeah, but now I know about factoring a little too fucking late, but if I get back in that truck, we'll see what's up.
You don't even have to have your own unit. I mean, we have, if you're a dispatcher, we work with dispatchers, and you get a piece of the pie at the end of the month. So you're going to get paid for carriers or even brokers that sign up with us. We pay out our partner referrals. That's just an extra kicker for you guys, to keep different avenues of income.
But think about it. That's the part that I dislike, but it's kind of like delegating. You can't do everything, so it's gonna come with a loss of revenue in one way or another. Because, or maybe I'm wrong, because I was like, okay, I'll get a factoring company, then I get a dispatcher, like that dispatch service. they're basically just writing off of your assets. Like, let me dispatch for you, and then they get that fee, and I have my permits at stake. And meanwhile, I'm missing out on the percentage they deduct and the percentage of the factoring company. So let's just say an outrageous, just to be wild, 16% that I'm missing out on.
I've seen that.
And it's like, I mean, more power to them. They got their hustle on. And
the difference in this case, I guess that you could say, is that we're taking the like off of that 16%. Let's just say, you know, if we collect 2 or 3%, now you're only paying the dispatcher, what would that be, like 13% versus the 16, because obviously we're going to be taking the invoice fee. So it's one step less that the dispatcher has to do. And that's why we built, and everything's proprietary as far as the mobile app goes, and even our website. We're a tech company first.
Yeah.
That's how we started, 2014. And we moved into factoring in 2017. Right, so the app's all in-house. We have our on-site engineers. They take care of all of that stuff. So
yeah, it just sounds like there's a lot of scenarios out there to make money in trucking, and that's one that got my attention recently. Like dispatch services, like you don't own no trucks, you just
collect the fee.
Yeah, and they're out there running them and all that. But
there's different ways.
You give up something, that's what you get. Like you don't want to put in the work and dispatch your own shit, so. Comes with a little fee, right?
Yeah, and lately it's a lot easier, to be honest, where you guys just post your trucks on whichever load board that you have, and then just wait for the brokers to call you directly and not your dispatcher.
Yeah. So technology is changing a lot of stuff as of recently.
Yeah, we're finally switching over, because when I started in this industry, everything was by flip phones and by faxes.
Yeah.
You know, dispatching your truck by a fax. Setting up with the broker used to take like an hour.
Uh-oh. Hate when I do that shit, man. But yeah, that's how most drivers get too. Like working an app, they don't really seem to like apps, you know.
Yeah,
it's like a lot of the problems that the tech companies have, like getting the driver engagement. Because
then you're gonna be having like 10 apps for different things.
Yeah,
right? And that's why that's a lot of steps less that you have to take by having a factoring company. You don't have to worry about all that other stuff. You just submit it directly to us and just watch your bank account grow. Wait for that deposit.
And if we want to, it doesn't mean, that's another catch. What if I almost signed up with one time, but then I read the part where like any accounts I get, they're gonna be in the middle. It's like, what if I get a little something on the side that he'll pay me? You know, I don't gotta wait that long. There's no need for you to dip into that. You know.
Unfortunately, in this industry, there's a lot of predatory factoring companies that will either threaten you or take you to court if they find out that you're billing, you know, directly. Versus us, that jargon is usually always going to be there about 9 out of 10 times in the agreement. However, the actual operations, the day-to-day operations, like I mentioned at the beginning, I have a lot of clients that bill directly. They'd rather do that because they know the warehouse manager and they get, you know, a cut off of it, right? That's fine.
What's that lingo called so that they can look out for that if they're signing up with someone?
It's usually on the UCC. So there's a lien that's placed on you as a client when you sign up with any factoring company, even if you get a PPP loan, right? There's a lot of them that are coming in now that comes up, that lien, because even if you get a line of credit, equipment loan for your truck, that's going to come up as a lien. Now, depending on the type of lien itself, you're going to see the jargon written on there. All receivables, equipment, they'll sometimes put a lien on the equipment. They'll sometimes put a lien on your personal credit. So it varies from company to company. But regarding the actual, if they find out that you're billing directly and they could come in, that's usually on like page 2 or 3 of the actual agreement.
They should say that from the get-go, huh? Like, hey, by the way, you got this big account here. We need the 3% for that as well.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Can you tell us more about the lien stuff? Because I misunderstood that. Does that mean that certain companies, you sign up for factoring with them, you're at risk of losing your property to them?
Unfortunately, yes, but only in scenarios where, let's say, if you go out of business, right? Now, obviously, there's an outstanding balance that needs to be owed or paid back to the factoring company. If that's the route, then that's what that jargon covers and protects the factoring company from a loss. We just want to get the money, or they want to receive the funds that they already advanced you for, right?
So a non-recourse company would not be eligible to claim any assets then?
It's only on bad case scenarios. Again, if you go like bankrupt, or if you close your business or sell the business, that balance, if any owed, needs to be paid back to the factoring company before a release is given. So if, let's say, if you were factoring with us, Containeroz, you sold your truck, right? Now, if there was any balance owed to us from money that we gave you, then that money needs to be paid back to us, whether it's recourse or non-recourse. It's just standard practice. Because why would any factoring company not want to collect their money back?
That's if my customer didn't pay, right?
No, because again, it's two different scenarios, right? So you're closing your business, you're selling your business to a different individual, right? So you are no longer going to be liable for it. So either he pays for that balance, he or she pays for that balance, or you pay for that balance. We need to receive the funds. Now, that's only on bad case scenarios, again, because we're still going to get the money from the brokerage.
Yeah.
But until that money is paid off by that brokerage,
okay,
we can't release the lien. But once it's zeroed out, then good luck, best of luck to you.
I see.
So
you guys got to ask a lot of questions to these guys.
And the more questions you ask, the more engaged you are, the more aware and more research you make, it's going to make you that much more knowledgeable, but most importantly, know how to operate your business as well. So it's going to help you out in the long run, right? Because there's some companies that I've seen that it's just, it gets ugly in this industry, unfortunately.
It's boring as fuck, but you really do gotta look over the fine print. It's there for a reason.
Yeah.
And the times it's brought up, it's not under good terms most of the time. So
because of,
according to this little section here, you're fucked.
Or and what I've encountered a lot with other bigger factoring companies is that because they have so many services that they offer, they'll sell you on this service, for example, dispatching, quote unquote. But in reality, you actually signed up as a factoring client, but they didn't tell you that.
That's fucked up.
They maneuvered it themselves. They pitched it in a way where it was just pretty much covered up. And then turns out you can't even release, can't leave them. So another rule of thumb as well, you can't have multiple factoring companies at all. You can only have one per authority, per entity.
Why is that, and who came up with that? What's the reason?
Standard practice, because let's say if you signed up with us and ABC Factoring Company, there's a risk that you're billing both of us. We both fronted you the funds, and then now who is the brokerage really going to pay? Is it going to be them? Is it going to be ABC, or is it going to be Hall Pay? So it's in the best interest of everybody as to why that lien is placed there in the beginning.
You should be able to do it, and then you guys do your homework and see, right? Or is it like a law? Because you can't have two factoring companies, but I can have like two bank accounts.
Yeah, you can, but again, since it's such a sensitive topic where it's the receivables in question, that factoring company needs to have their interest secured for any funds that's being dispersed to you.
But you can't, or you shouldn't. Like who will stop me if I try to sign up with two?
You could potentially get canceled by both.
Oh.
And it happens, time to time. It does, unfortunately, where, let's say you guys are applying at 3 different factoring companies, right? Now, some companies will place that lien just because you spoke with them and they ran your credit, and boom, there's that lien, even though you didn't sign the agreement. Now, when you try to apply somewhere else, they're going to see that lien, and unfortunately, you won't be able to sign up with us.
Oh, that's an inside hack to secure that customer, huh?
Oh, yeah. And then
it's kind of shady. I didn't sign nothing, bro.
I'll be honest. It's rare for them to not sign it because there's always an agreement that's sent to you, whether you read it or not. Unfortunately, that's entirely on your plate.
Yeah. But as long as it's not out of this world, where like upon opening this email, you agree. Like what the fuck?
No, everything's now. It's like hello sign, DocuSign. So everything literally, even if you just type in your name, that's a signature, right?
Yeah.
But you have to actually.
I told someone that, but they weren't familiar with it. there's a way that you could type it and it's considered a signature, right? You add those two
Yeah, because there's
forward
a
slashes, or what do you call that when it's
forward
slotted?
Forward slash.
That's
or
what I heard.
backslash.
Am I wrong? That's a signature. You put 2 forward slash in front of it and 2 forward slash behind it.
Well, it could be an initial.
Yeah.
So it could be your initials, could be Kontaineroz, right? It could be anything that's legally on there, then that's considered a signature.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's a lot of tricks in here, and that's why, I'm glad that we're having this conversation. Cause
I just don't want to have a brain fart. I want to make sure I ask whatever I can,
We go over this multiple times with clients that we onboard. It's not where you just sign up and, hey, good luck, thank you, pleasure, I'll talk to you never.
Let me hold that lean, even though you didn't sign shit.
Yeah, no, believe me, my conversations with my clients, usually the beginning is like 30 minutes. Then the second conversation is, again, to reiterate everything we went over. My technique is that everything that we discussed, I'll send you a recap email. So that way I know for a fact that we went over it and there's no trickery involved, right? That way you feel comfortable at the end of the day. That's the most important factor in my mind.
Yeah. That sounds very salesy. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. So, it sounds like you like what you do, love it.
I do.
What do you hate about it? There's got to be something a pet peeve maybe, whether on the client side or just at the office.
It gets overwhelming, just like this industry period, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a 24/7 type of thing. Since we have clients all over the nation, there's sometimes where they're calling in and I'm not even on shift yet and they get frustrated, right? Or if I'm trying to have dinner with my family and they're calling and they get frustrated that I don't answer. Sometimes we get so involved in our day-to-day operations that we forget that they're human too.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only downside I could think of.
What's the scenario of them calling you? Why would they call you once they're already signed up? What is there to talk about at that point?
Well, we onboard them. We make sure that they understand the application, they understand the process, they understand what an NOA is. Because
What's NOA?
Notice of assignment.
Okay.
And that notice of assignment, every factor, you sign one, we sign it to execute it, and we send it out to the broker. Now that broker has to abide by that in placing it and making sure that they're not paying Kontaineroz directly, because we're the factoring company, right? They could get in a lot of legal trouble if they just ignore it and they pay you, right? So we go over that. We go over, maybe I probably get in trouble for sharing this because it's insider info, but
Get in trouble, bro. Nah.
we have
just whatever you're comfortable sharing.
Pretty cool feature in our program that allows you to save some money, because again, as I mentioned earlier, that some brokerages are moving into factoring, and because they're so large, they're able to offer a lower rate, let's say 1.5, let's say 2%, but your overall account rate is a little higher. Send me a screenshot of that and we'll match it for you guys. Right? So we try to save you guys as much money as possible. If you don't want to bill them with us, and that's fine, more power to you.
You'll match it. At this point, do they already have another existing factoring company though?
It could be, but I'm talking transactional.
Transactional.
So meaning if let's say you're a brokerage, right?
Yeah.
And ABC Trucking is getting a load from you, but your quick pay is 2% to them.
Yeah.
But his overall rate is a little higher with us, then I'll match the 2% from Kontaineroz for that brokerage. Now, if you're talking about if they have another factoring company, there's a lot of moving components in that. And
like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, we have to review their AR. So the report, we have to make sure that, because some of these factoring companies will approve whomever because it's recourse. So at the end of the day, if they don't collect, they're going to get their money from you.
Or take your chassis on your trucks.
So we try to avoid as much risk as possible. Our books are super strong. Our loss is almost minimal compared to the amount that we fund.
So the scenario you said about matching, that's already when the customer, excuse me, that's already when you have the customer signed up and everything.
Yes.
Because you said you don't mind if they get paid directly by some of their customers. You're not going to bully them and be like, we got it all. In that scenario, if one of their customers is paying lower, for the sake of you securing that, you match it. Okay. Just wanted to
Because at the end of
clarify.
the day, it's not really just us, right? But you have to think about it. You as the business owner, right? Would you rather, pay the 2% here, or would you rather spend an hour or two per day to create your own invoices and follow up on payments? You see, so there's a lot of things that to take into consideration besides just the rate.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I even get like confused, if I could say that. But it's all moving pieces. Like you get your authority, you go get a customer. You want to get paid for your service. So I didn't see it like that, like visually, like everything working. I just saw like I get paid Friday. That's all I saw. Like at some point, like.
Yeah, especially in drayage, there's a lot of companies that pay that way.
Yeah, but I wish I learned so much more, like at an early age or stage in the drayage thing. Like you could literally get paid on that invoice the same day, right?
Yeah.
And we're over here waiting for Friday or dos semanas de fondo, and we have our own authority even in some cases. Like, why don't I just,
Team up.
Yeah. So it's like, there's a lot of, like I said, fucking broken record, but there's a lot of moving pieces to this. And the more we know, the more we could,
The easier it is. I mean, at the end of the day, again, you're putting your time and effort as a driver. Yeah. Why would you put more stress on you to be clerical, right? If you're not used to it.
But it's already a red flag as someone with own authority to be getting work from someone else's authority, if that makes sense. Like
when you're a lease operator.
A lot of us, because this AB5, a lot of us hopped on it, like because AB5, the scare or whatever, right? Whether it goes through or not, we were proactive or reactive. Who knows?
Reactive.
Right? Let's do it. But now we were in the same scenario that I own a truck, I can get leased on and put on that company's placards, right? But it's my truck. Same pay, right? According to the terms I have with that company. That's their accounts. Now we got the scenario where the guys have their own authority. Same shit. They're still under that company. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying it's a red flag. If you have your own authority, you should be going all out and go out there, get accounts. Don't worry about the funding, because then if you do your homework, you get some factoring going.
It's intimidating. I mean, when I had my two trucks, I didn't know what I was getting into. I came from being a dispatcher to, I said, you know what? Why am I going to get paid such pennies when I could be out making my boss's money, right? And there was a lot of things that I know, like CHP inspections. The reason why I was put out of service is because one of the drivers that I had, he was training another guy, Otocayo, for that fact. Same first name, same last name. Was not in my insurance policy. He got popped in Oregon at the scale. He got put out of service for 3 months. Bills don't stop. You know that. Still got to pay the insurance. Still got to pay the office. There's so much overhead, and unfortunately because of that, I had to close up shop. So I get what you mean, right? When you have your own authorities, but in reality, I guess by partnering up or being under somebody else's authority might seem like a better stepping stone at the time. And eventually build your own knowledge, read more, get out there, learn more, and then you could decide which route to go, whether if you want to stick with them as a lease operator or if you want to just venture out.
Yeah, and the fact that you have your own authority, that allows you to accept some of their work if you want to. I don't know if that's good or bad when it comes to, or how that stands in the realm of quadruple brokering or whatnot, but
it's frowned upon. The only problems I've encountered in my career is when it's two alphas and they're like, no, well, if that's the case, if you're going to get your own loads, you're canceled from my authorities, pay for your own insurance, pay for your own trailer, pay for this, so it burns a lot of bridges, unfortunately.
Yeah. But back to that, it's sad that you get your own authority and you're stuck in the same fucking place doing leased on rate work.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And learning about other things and tools to help you progress, it's good. So I hope people learned something today.
Definitely.
So an interesting factoring story. I'm sure there's got to be at least one out there like damn, this was what could go wrong or something. I don't know. Let me know, man.
It goes into that realm where you are not allowed to have multiple factoring companies. Sometimes some of these factoring companies don't submit the lien in time in a timely manner. They'll wait like a week, and then this carrier in the meantime is shopping around. The carrier ends up getting approved by the other factoring company. He gets both approvals, and he'll bill both of us to see who pays quicker. And then we run into a scenario where, well, I got to get paid. So either you pay us or we got to figure out some sort of payment plan. Right? So that's the ugliest I've seen. Like an interesting story, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. Others have been where they get charged like $2,500 to terminate their contract. I've seen as much as $8,000. Because they're so predatory, you know. Okay, if you're gonna leave, we have to, and it's written on that contract too. So you have to be very specific and dissect it, right?
Yeah. Where
they're gonna have a $2,500 lawyer fee for legalities or attorneys or no sé qué tanto in specific que dice, but that's as ugly as it gets.
Okay.
Good case scenarios or good stories is, you know, whether you're a one truck operator or you have, you know, a fleet of 50 trucks, we're able to manage that. So we have accounts that are they're up there. Or my best success stories is when just by having a conversation you find out that your carrier client, you know, has been billing on the side. Well, hey, what's up? You know, switch over, and then they end up growing. They get paid quicker. They go from 2 trucks to 5 trucks, you know, from 2 trucks to 3 trucks. So that growth right there, it's amazing to witness.
Cool. And so that's a good one, right? We hope there's more good than bad.
Yeah.
And what about it? And as far as like in the industry, is this an industry where like kind of like in trucking, there's a little bit of cutthroat everywhere?
There is.
How does it, and what's the cutthroat side of this?
The main thing that frustrates me, the roadblock that we run into, is these UCC liens when a carrier didn't apply or didn't sign the agreement, and we just can't overcome that hurdle, right? There's a couple clients that I'm trying to transition over from a different company, and communication lacks. So they won't respond to us, and when they do, we need the carrier to contact us, which they already did. And one of these things for everybody to keep in mind out there is, if you're gonna terminate your agreement, don't call in. Don't just say, hey, you know what, Luis, cancel my agreement. You have to have written track record, paper trail. On this date, please respond with acknowledging my request, right? Because if you don't, then 2 weeks go by. Oh, well, we never got your request, even though you spoke with Luis and you let him know that you want to cancel. Then it turns out that it's another 2 weeks that they have to wait.
So do both and follow up, or maybe write it in such a way that that wouldn't count, right?
No,
because it's the same shit I said earlier. Like, upon opening this email, you agree. So there has to be acknowledgement of receiving it.
Yeah,
for it to be valid.
Yeah, correct.
So they probably ignore it on purpose. Then
they do, or they'll leave it in, you know, unread for a week, and then they'll finally respond. But what matters is the date that you requested it.
No, bro. I think what matters is the subject. You gotta put, we'll flip 500 into 5,000.
Little scam action right there.
Right away.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, man. So it gets frustrating at times, you know, when clients can't terminate or leave their account. But we do every part that we can in order to have it be a seamless transaction. So you guys are not involved as much as you should.
I was gonna ask you about if you've done factoring only, but then you already mentioned a little bit about that when that Tocayo story. Do you have anything else to add aside from that you've done, like other than that trucking venture?
Well, as a
dispatch,
as a team leader, sales manager, man, I Forever 21, everybody knows them. The old school Fashion Nova, right? I helped build a lot of their stores. So in Livermore, they had one of the big hubs. We opened up their shop in the San Francisco Mall, Queens, New York, Jamaica. You know, I've grown accounts, and I've seen both sides of the end, right? Where it's frustrating as a broker, where you guys think that we're just eating and we're keeping a lot of margins. Sometimes we do, depending on the season, but sometimes we take hits.
You said we right now, like identifying as a broker, like, so factoring.
Because it's always because it's always gonna be in my blood. I did it for like 6 years.
I just had it. I caught that. I'm like, let's clarify that.
And it's just part of my vocabulary. I don't like saying I. You know, should never be an I. You know, if you're gonna send me documents, instead of saying me, send them to us, right? So because it's a team effort. You know, it's not just me. So that's why I said that we.
Yeah, sorry, I must have fucked up your train of thought. But if you can recover,
go ahead.
So
I've done that side of the trade. I've had my trucks, so I've seen the frustrations on both ends, and I think that that's what empowers me to build such a strong connection with all types of clients. Mm-hmm. Whether you're just starting off, you have a box truck, right? To whether you're a fleet manager of 10 trucks. I had I guess there's a new insurance thing where you're not allowed to insure more than I think 5 units within your first year of authority. And I had a client like that he was in a scenario where because he grew too fast or he added too many trucks to his insurance policy that he got blocked. So he had to open up a new entity, right? So fast growth as well, but it's a high risk, and insurance companies don't like that. So there's got to be movidas and like little secrets that you have to be able to do in order to continue your growth. Like some of these big trucking carriers, look at Schneider. They have like 4 different MC numbers. Landstar, the same thing.
Yeah.
There's different divisions for everything.
If you were not factoring, what would you do?
I would probably open up my own shop again.
As in?
Having at least 1 unit to start.
Oh, okay.
I always wanted to. The last time I had a Peterbilt, I had it for like 2-3 years, but the driver that I had on it blew the engine on it. The repairs were way too much for me. I had to give it back to the bank. So it's a lot of downfalls, but there's a lot of opportunity for growth.
Yeah.
Look at not gonna name specifics, but with your situation, when I got knocked in 2008, it derailed me so strong that it transitioned me to this industry. Because I was in banking before. I was a personal banker doing loan mortgages and stuff like that. And then that happened. You can't have a record and be in corporate America. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sucks. But does it, right? Because
I wouldn't be here.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing about trucking that I always say too. Like, I don't have to be driving to be in trucking.
Successful. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm not dispatching. I'm not brokering anything out, but we're still in the same industry.
Yeah. And I did my time. I put in work like 15 years, man. So I think it's enough to
time for a little switch for sure.
Yeah. Any side hustles at the moment?
Yeah, with my brother, we buy and sell appliances.
Okay.
So like mini fridges, sectionals.
Looking at my fridge.
Our fridge. You should have came to me for that one right there.
It was already here.
So yeah, we do that, on my days off, weekends, but sometimes I overwork myself and I get, a foggy mind. So I try not to overwork myself anymore either because, going 3 months with no day off, no time off, it just is not fun. You see your bank account grow, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But without any free time, it drives me crazy. I think if I was maybe in dispatching still or brokering, I wouldn't have the mindset or the mentality or the strength to have my side hustle because that's just overwhelming. Like 3-4 phones at a time, not only just for my trucks, but, taking care of the office, clerical work. Man, it got to the point when one of the companies I was managing, I had 60 agents under me. So I was working literally 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. Even when my dad was in the hospital, come in on weekends, it just, I wouldn't want to do that again. So that's why I love what I do. and it allows me to have some free time, enjoy it with my family, and be able to have a side hustle.
Yeah. That what's your goal with the side hustle? Like,
maybe I've always considered it, and time to time I end up dreaming that I'm looking at retail stores to lease and just stack them up with fridges and like a thrifty per se, right?
Yeah.
Because my mom and my brother and myself, we had one in 2009. So we got a taste of it, you know. But at the time, I didn't know. Even though I was in banking, I didn't know about AR or accounting, you know, or what software to manage all my receivables, you know.
Yeah.
So I think maybe just leasing like a small front store and just packing it up.
Yeah. Some would say that's random, like appliances. Like, why did you choose that? Like,
it sells itself. There's always a need for it. You know, either people want to upgrade or their current unit breaks down. And these repairs are costly. Some of these engineers that repair fridges, because I have a guy that does that, man, one time I'd rather just call the city and have them pick it up, because the repair on it, he quoted me last time, it was $480. It's like, man, no, I'm already a couple hundred in the unit. Why am I going to spend it and then still take a loss? You know, I'd just rather cut my loss right there. So it's not random. It's just that there's always a demand for it. People are constantly moving, whether it's city, state, apartments, upgrading or downgrading. And here I am to make some money off of it, to capitalize on it.
Do they ever come with any surprises? Any little critters?
Yeah, man.
You got a story?
Bro. Yeah, when I always try to be as clean as possible and spray them, wash my units really well before I even flip them, and I test them for at least 2 weeks to make sure that there's no issues. But yeah, unfortunately, some humans are not as clean as they should, you know. So. And when I see them, man, it just it gives me like goosebumps. I'm like, I don't even want to touch it anymore. I don't even want to sell it.
I already dealt with that as a kid, so I've been around some critters, you know. But growing up poor, man, that goes with it.
But, believe me, same here.
But yeah, hey, but not as bad as me, probably. Let's see.
What?
If you would wake up in the middle of the night, do they all start running when you turn the light on? Was it that bad? Has it ever been that bad?
I can't remember. Maybe at one point in my life when I was a child, like a toddler maybe, or like 5 years old, But in those cases, my mom always tried to take us out of those kind of, you know, les llaman cucaracheros, you know. So our parents always try to provide for us as much as possible, not put us in those situations. But man, first, like 10 years of my life, I slept on the floor. Slept on the floor with my brother, you know. And the earthquake, when it popped, because I've always lived in the valley. We were living in a Big Lots parking lot for like 3 months because our apartment was red flagged.
Okay. At risk or what?
Yeah, nobody could go back into inhabitate because it was the structure, the frame, the foundation, everything was just trashed.
So what else do you remember from childhood?
Good times, like my dad taking us to 2020, you know, every other Sunday to pick out a used game, you know, for our Game Boy. My dad taking us to trips, you know, my mom taking us to Guatemala, you know. So a lot of the mainly happy moments, but I guess I've suppressed a lot of bad stories also, and that's why I try to continue to progress. And to be honest, my mom, my brother, like my why. That's why I continue to keep pushing forward.
What incidents stick with you that had an impact on you growing up?
I guess because I've never broken arms. I've never severed anything, thank God. But I used to wrestle a lot. And one time I split my head on a chopped down tree. One time I was with my brother riding on the handlebars. My stupid ass put my foot between the rim. Boom, the hocico me fui. Big chinchon that I had for like 2 weeks.
Memories?
Yeah. So, yeah, but everything's good.
So none of the hardships that you went through, none of them stick with you now, or like push you, or like anything in particular like that?
I guess, yeah. But those hardships, I put myself into those predicaments. Like I said, when I got 2008 was in my best year. And that, like, I I would never put myself in that position again. And I try to, that's what sticks with me, you know, more than anything of my childhood.
What do you think led to 2008 being that type of year?
I was young, I was wilding, I was making more money that I could manage, you know, and I was just reckless.
So money doesn't really, without the proper technique
Education.
or knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
in and out.
Yep. That's one of the things I guess I could say I regret. And I've always considered maybe taking some courses or getting my AA or something like that, you know, because unfortunately in corporate America, if you don't have that degree,
They don't fuck with you.
yep, or they'll take somebody else with less experience just because they have that little shiny diploma.
Yeah, yeah. What did you learn from 2008 though? What?
Don't put myself in that position again. Manage my money better. Don't be reckless, and especially, you know, legal. It's not cheap. Comes with a price.
No.
Took me a couple of years to recoup from that major loss, like close to 20,000 that I lost.
Yeah.
So I would have, instead of those 20,000, I could have, you know, spent it on a house. At that time, houses were like 200 something.
Yeah.
You know, if you're inebriated or impaired, don't get behind the wheel. Thank God I didn't, you know, damage any private property. I didn't crash against anybody. I was literally pulled out of a drive-through because I was in the wrong side of town. My truck was suspicious, you know, sitting on 22s. At that time, it was, you know, weird, right?
Yeah.
And literally they made me pull out of the drive-through, and that's where it called like 4 units on me.
Yeah, mine, they found me in another and same thing. They found me in another neighborhood. Like, the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah.
And did they wake you up? They woke me up.
No, because I had and this is how it happened, right? Like I had a passenger. My truck was full of, you know, there was like 4 or 5 people in there. My front seat passenger was being belligerent, throwing trash out the truck. Just turns out that there was a unit patrolling, saw us litter, walks out, tells my passenger, yo, put this back in the truck. And then he started fighting with the cop. Of course, you know, I'm the one driving. He didn't fall for it. I took it. Where's he at? Who knows? Did he offer me any money? No. So you got to be careful also with your acquaintances. So
They're only there for the good times.
Yep.
Most of them. All right, moving on from that. What was what's the number one thing on your bucket list you want to accomplish?
as lame as this might sound, just travel. Go to Greece. That's always been my destination of choice.
Why is that? Why Greece? Out of all the places.
It just looks picture perfect, you know. Got a couple buddies that have gone there. I've seen their videos, their pictures. I'm like, damn, why am I overworking? And it's very affordable.
Yeah.
You know, one of my coworkers travels pretty much at least like twice a year. And she just went to Greece. I think she spent like 3 G's. It's nothing. Well, I mean, yeah, obviously it's not easy, but it's
not
attainable.
impossible.
It's attainable, yeah.
What did you really want to be growing up? Do you remember? Like,
I kind of do, but I can't put my finger on it. But it had to do something with me being in a suit and being in like probably like a stockbroker or something.
Businessman.
Yeah.
Since a young age. And who put that image in you, or what did you see that inspired that?
I guess watching my parents struggle, because they both worked at Gelson's Market, you know, grocery stores, fast-paced, underpaid. And I just wanted to put myself in a different environment, in an office, you know, be comfortable. And then obviously watching all these movies.
Yeah.
So.
Why do you think that people attribute a business suit to success all the time?
That's the old way, you know. That's how men used to dress, you know, in the past. And then they used to have their little suitcases.
Yeah. Have you heard that thing that the guys in the suits work for the guys in PJs and slippers or something like that?
No way.
Yeah,
no,
like,
I haven't heard that.
When
But
you
it's
got
true,
it,
though.
You know,
it's true.
The boss is somewhere out there chilling. These guys looking fly though.
Yeah. The one good thing I will say though, this is not, you know, because I'm still employed here, but he's been the only CEO that I've ever worked for that's literally for his team and growing the business. not in it for the quick buck. And if he has to step in and he has to, talk to, let's say you, for example, he doesn't mind picking up the phone. Versus, there's been other managers that I've worked under that they always hide. When stuff popped up, oh, I'm not here, I'm leaving.
Kind of like Wolf of Wall Street. Like he'll put in work. And he'll do the calls too.
Yeah,
he won't ask nothing of you that he wouldn't do himself.
Yep.
And,
yeah. And he's helped me close a lot of deals.
So this is a lot of years of experience, though. What has rubbed off on you from him?
His work ethic, I guess you could say, and the way he conducts himself. Always professional. His vocabulary is extensive, so just overall a good guy.
What do you consider a good work ethic?
Putting in the work. I mean, this guy just recently went on vacation and he was still working. I'm sure his girl gave him grief, but he's on his laptop in meetings with us.
Yeah.
Or he'll call in. So just never running when the times get tough. Yeah, because the moment you start letting loose on the gas pedal, then you could lose tons of momentum.
So who inspires you? Who's your idol?
You, bro.
Hey. Humildemente.
I guess you could say my mom.
Yeah.
She after her career ended in the grocery supermarket, she's been hustling nonstop. Always finds a way to make money. And I guess I've learned a lot of my sales techniques from her. I guess you could say.
How so? Like,
just the way that she speaks to clients, to her clients, whenever she sells an item. Because I guess I could say I got into the appliance business because of her.
Okay.
Because she's always done it, the last 20 years. And just watching her hand over product to, one of her clients, the way she conducts herself, her speech, makes everybody feel comfortable, always cracking jokes. So I implement that on my daily operations when I'm speaking to anybody on the phone.
Do you want to crack a joke?
I suck at jokes, bro.
I do
I'm
too.
not that guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess, no, I don't. I'm not good with that.
Do you have any motivational books or a quote or something that you fucked with and you want to recommend? Or
I'm not gonna front. No. That's one of those things I lack on, and I need to start picking up that habit of reading. I saw one of your posts that I really liked. It had to do with that topic where if you read the same books that somebody else is reading, you pretty much have the same mentality. Something of that rather. That really resonated in me. So
that's not an excuse to not read.
No, it's not at all. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I just.
No, I'm saying you're like, this means I don't have to read then.
No, tampoco.
Okay.
No, I'm saying, because you'll see a lot of books being filtered out and people promoting them, like, read this, and they all think that they're authors now, or
Yeah.
And I'm not about trends, but yeah, that's a very good subject matter that I wish I need to pick up.
Also, like reading it once is not enough.
Yeah, it's like watching a movie. You got to watch it a couple times or read it a couple times for it to resonate.
Something you weren't ready to absorb in the first go. So I kind of, because I get distracted a lot, and yeah. But always something sticks. I know that it works because there's certain stuff I remember, and I'll be like interrupting guests, like with, I remember this quote, and then I go and say it, and it's all fucked up. I miss, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I said a quote, bro. So yeah. And here's a little blank spot where I was hoping you would add your own question, but
yeah, because it's not really.
I thought we were a team, bro. You said teamwork earlier. What's up?
Yeah.
This was teamwork.
I just don't really like talking about myself. Just makes it more intuitive when it comes from the other person. It makes it genuine, because that's like, I don't know. To me, the way I took it when you said that, I was like, oh, that's a little that's I guess conceited. Oh yeah, make sure you ask me this.
You should be more conceited, more.
I'm confident.
Yourself. Yeah,
I'm confident. A little too confident sometimes.
Yeah,
it's one of my demises. But
the approach with this is that, well, at least I noticed, like, there has to be that one question that applies to that one person. Because if you ask everyone the same thing, sure, there'll be different variations upon their perspective, but based on their perspective. But I'm sure there's sometimes, for example, like a trucker, like everyone probably asks the same, like, do you get tired of working late? You know, I don't know. Is it true there's a long line at the ports all the time? Yes, bitch, there's long lines. Like, ask me something interesting, you know? Yeah. That's all it was. But fine.
Yeah.
Cross it out, bro. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I don't have a specific answer, you know, just still with my mom being here with us, everything being good, and reading being in a better position than I am today. Whether that's, you know, finally getting my truck again or opening up a shop, you know, so that way my mom could work a lot less now too. So just
retire mom.
Yeah.
But she probably wouldn't sit still, huh? Like some people that never want to retire.
Yeah, I'll tell her like, yo, stop working, take the day off, you know, etc. She's like, no, I have to work.
Yeah. So. Do you believe in that? Like sometimes, like they say, like when people retire, that's when they start to fall apart. Like when they chill, and the people that keep going, they last a little longer. I don't know if that makes sense. You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, watching my dad, when he was sick, he would lose his mind. You know, being at home, not being able to work. He always needed to be on the go, and that's I guess a trait that they have that I miss that gene pool. Because I don't always have to be on the go. You know, I'm fine resting. I'm fine just watching TV or being in my comfort zone, you know?
Yeah.
But it's definitely a good ethic to have because, like, I'll watch their procedures, you know, their daily routines and their daily schedules. And, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Because, again, I witnessed it with my dad. And then my mom, I don't even know what she would do if she wasn't working.
Yeah. What is it? Use it or lose it? Whatever. Mm-hmm. Another one of my quotes. That's a real thing, right? Use it or lose it.
I think people apply it towards something degrading, though. Usually.
Yeah, okay. No degrading stuff here. Yeah. Any advice for anyone trying to get into being a better salesman or?
Be open-minded.
Open-minded.
Be receptive and apply it. Because you could sit in classes, you could take courses, but if you only did that to have that under your belt, what are you really gaining out of it? If you don't apply your methods or, you know, your knowledge, then you're just going to be spinning your wheels.
But they're very motivated, though.
No comment.
But there is people like that, right? That there's no shortcut for that shit. You gotta go through it.
Yep.
But they go through. They know they've been to all the seminars and all that. But
yeah, and they're still spinning their wheels. I mean, I guess my biggest moment within my sales career is when I sold cars, used cars for that matter.
Yeah.
Man, that was a hustle right there, you know. And I learned a lot. It's greed. Different techniques that you have to apply, but most importantly, listen to the client. Because if you're coming in, for example, for an SUV, and I'm trying to upsell you into a smaller car or a crossover, that's not what you want.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm already failing doing that job. And then being under the rain, demoing cars, being in the valley, it gets hot, in a suit, 120 degrees, sweating bullets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a hustle. And I guess that, I don't know, maybe you can read it or maybe you can learn it by taking a course. But unless you do it, like you mentioned, you're not really going to know.
Yeah. A lot of times the people will tell you, like, the answer's right in front of you, but you don't listen.
Yeah. Yep.
There was this post where I think it's Brad Lee, the real Brad Lee. He said this scenario of a car salesman. Mm-hmm. The guy comes in and he's checking out a Corvette. It's a badass Corvette. So the salesman starts, making it sound, you're going to get all the ladies with this. You're going to get all the action. You're going to get all the attention. This shit is fast, And And all along, the individual wanted a car for his daughter. So he assumed it was for the man, and he missed out on the sale. Because now the way he said it, when you put that into the context for a 16-year-old, you don't want your 16-year-old hauling ass going 0 to 60 in this many seconds and getting all this attention and all that. Like, so he fucked up because he assumed.
Yep.
So failed to get to know him and ask a little more.
Yeah, you learn a lot by asking questions, and ultimately that's the decision maker. You know, I have a lot of clients that come over from different factoring companies. You know, usually when they do is because they're not content with their current situation.
Yeah.
My rep doesn't answer the phone. My rep sends me to customer service. My rep takes a long time to reply to my emails, or my rep just doesn't communicate. You know, so try to give them a different approach.
All right. Anything you want to add?
No, just, you know, appreciate the time that you brought me over. Again, congratulations, and how you flipped your situation to be in this position. You know, that's admirable. Wish you nothing but success furthermore.
Thank you.
And
still a lot to learn. I still have my hiccups, as you saw earlier, like where I'm like, lose my train of thought on something.
But if you're not applying or realizing that, you're not gonna grow. So
see, I could have watched a bunch of podcast videos. How to podcast? You gotta fucking do the podcast, you know. Yep. And so cool. Where can they contact you? Where can they reach you? Or what's up?
Easiest way, my direct line. It's area code 562-261-2962. You can reach me by text or call. If I don't answer, just send me a text message, because I'm either literally on the other line, as cliche as that sounds on the voicemails, or I might be in another podcast with Containeroz, you know. So just send a message. Don't think that we're being dismissive or we don't have time. We'll get back to you. But that's the easiest way. Otherwise, it would be by email.
And what's the IG?
It's at Myneezy. That's MYNEEEZY. Not 4 E's. ZY.
4 E's, guys.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. Thank you guys for tuning in, and catch you on the next one.
One thing, don't forget, mention Containeroz if you guys are calling in or inquiring. Just a simple inquiry, and you guys are interested in either us reviewing your agreement, second opinion. Make sure you mention Containeroz. Yeah,
not salesy at all, but hey, if you sign up with the homie, mention Containeroz for 0% off, but just sign up. Sign up. All right, now we're gonna go. Okay,
appreciate you guys.